Media Melanie Talks TV. I'm Melanie, and today I'm back to preview Poker Face Season 2 on Peacock. This show came out in 2023 and was one of my favorite shows of the year, so I was delighted when it got renewed, and finally we are getting Season 2 back on our screens. The first 3 episodes will drop on May 8th and then stream Thursdays after that. There will be a total of 12 episodes, whereas we had 10 back in Season 1, so love to see that we get an additional 2. Given the success and acclaim of the show, it's not surprising. And yes, I will be here each week to cover it and review it. So make sure you like this video and are subscribed to my channel so you don't miss any of my Poker Face TV talk. And some of the other shows I'm covering as well right now include The Handmaid's Tale final season, Your Friends and Neighbors with John Hamm on Apple TV+, and I'm gearing up to cover The Buccaneers on Apple TV+, and The Summer I Turned Pretty in July on Amazon Prime. So lots of great TV coming, including this show. It stars Natasha Lyonne. Her character, Charlie Kale, is essentially a human lie detector. Nobody can fool her. And Season 1 was a wild ride. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I will say that there is an ongoing storyline, despite the fact that the show is very puzzle box and case of the week. It is a comedic reimagining of Murder, She Wrote and Columbo, and it's by Rian Johnson, who we know from Knives Out, and also executive produced Three Body Problem on Netflix, which was actually one of my favorite shows from 2024. Not only that, but Natasha Lyonne's contact list is so extensive. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a series with quite as many big-name star-studded guest stars as with Poker Face. I mean, just to name a few here from Season 1, Adrienne Brody, Benjamin Bratt, Judith Light, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Chloe Sevigny, Clea Duvall, Nick Nolte, Dasha Polanco, and so many more. Well, guess what? Season 2 has even more. There are so many to name. I'm going to name a few of the highlights here, but I will drop the entire list in the comments, so be sure to check them out. All right, let's see. Cynthia Erivo, who we know from Wicked, is going to play 6 identical siblings who are each a different character. That is going to be a lot of fun to watch. She is just fantastic. I actually recently watched her in the 1 season of The Outsider on HBO Max, which for some reason I hadn't watched. Loved her in that role. But some other big names: Camille Nanjiani, Giancarlo Esposito, Justin Theroux, Swoon, Awkwafina, Melanie Lynskey and her husband Jason Ritter, Katie Holmes, John Mulaney, Method Man, Gabby Hoffman, Haley Joe Osment, Natasha Leggero, Rhea Perlman, Richard Kind, Sam Richardson, Taylor Schilling, just to name a few. And I think that's one of the biggest strengths of this show, because not only is each episode kind of self-contained, but yes, there is a thread going throughout. In Season 1, we saw Charlie getting chased by some bad guys, and that trend will continue here in Season 2 as well. And in interviews, Natasha Lyonne and Rian Johnson have said things like, the new season amps up its stylistic flair by pulling inspiration from the gritty aesthetic of 1970s American cinema. I love that. This show has a very unique vibe compared to other procedurals, and the way that it infuses comedy is just pure genius. They also said each episode is a mini movie existing in its own world with a unique tone and vibe, featuring an eccentric lot of characters played by a truly gonzo parade of guest stars. I mean, seriously, right? Natasha Lyonne and Rian Johnson did truly create something special here, and yes, it is a procedural, but I do think it differentiates itself from these other Case of the Week styles because, yeah, it does have the ongoing storyline, but the roster of guest stars, I keep going back to that. I think this has utilized and leveraged a star's contacts better than almost any series out there. Speaking of the use of celebrity guest stars and cameos, who else is watching this studio on Apple TV+? It is a very frantic dramedy starring Seth Rogen as a fictional studio head in Hollywood. But this show has a literal parade of celebrity guest stars and cameos as well. And while it is different, because yes, this show is about Hollywood, so it makes sense, it does feel pretty showy and ostentatious, like, hey, look at all the celebrities I know. Whereas Poker Face, yeah, it kind of does the same thing, but in a unique and authentic way where they're creating different roles for these characters outside the box of their usual existence within Hollywood. So if I've got to say who does it better, I mean, I'm still saying it's Poker Face. What do you guys think if you're watching the studio? And yes, it does make sense to have them all in there, but just in terms of leveraging the range of actors in doing these guest star appearances, hats off to Natasha Lyonne. And the logline for the show: Charlie Cale, who has an extraordinary ability to determine when someone is lying, hits the road with her Plymouth Barracuda, and with every stop encounters a new cast of characters and strange crime she can't help but solve. So each week I'm going to break down the episode, and I think I'm going to also have an award system for my favorite guest star. So each week at the end of the episode, I will be tracking which guest star I think deserves the Star of the Season award. So be sure when you do watch my coverage that you drop your favorite guest star in the comments. It's such a unique format to have all of these big names come in and play these different roles in this mystery box puzzle show, and I cannot wait. But in general, the show did pretty well on their award circuit, getting recognized. So I did mention Judith Light was in season 1, and the show got some Emmys nominations. It got 4 nominations and 1 Emmy by Queen Judith Light. That's right, she won Outstanding Guest Actress in a Comedy Series in 2023. Well deserved. We recently saw Judith Light in Before on Apple TV Plus, although it was a pretty minor role. But if you love her as much as I do, I mean, first of all, she'll always be Angela Bauer from Who's the Boss to me. But she did play Courtney Cox's wild mom in the show Shining Vale, which had 2 seasons and it got canceled. But Courtney Cox, Greg Kinnear, Judith Light, fantastic show. And even though it got canceled and it goes off the rails in season 2, I still encourage you to watch it. Really fun horror vibe type of concept. So let's talk about the full trailer, which was recently dropped. First of all, it's set to the song Barracuda by Heart, which of course plays into Charlie's car that she's driving around the country and solving all these weird cases that she gets involved with. And yeah, maybe we do have to suspend disbelief just a little, because what are the odds of this one woman stumbling into town after town and inserting herself into these investigations? Well, you know what? I don't care, because it is so well done, it doesn't even really matter. And the creativity and outside the box thinking for coming up with these mysteries and cases of the weeks, just phenomenal. Looks like we have a couple of animals joining the cast in season 2, including an alligator and a gerbil, which we see in the trailer, and lots of different types of themes and situations, including baseball, the beach, some zombies, a cemetery, some sort of demonic kid storyline potentially, fur coats, fire, kissing, lots of mystery, crime, and fun. And the trailer ends with someone saying, you know, I can fool you. Is Charlie finally going to get fooled? I mean, she has been able to basically uncover lies in pretty much every person that she's encountered. And yeah, some are more difficult than others, but will this be the season that somebody does finally pull the wool over her eyes and fool her? Is her ability able to get messed with in some capacity? Like, let's say she gets drugged or something like that. Is there any world where this ability turns off somehow or gets diminished and somebody is able to fool her, which could potentially lead to her demise or not solving one of these cases for once? Because yeah, she is very successful at putting the pieces together and investigating. So overall, there are many reasons why, if you have not watched season 1 of Poker Face yet on Peacock, I highly encourage you to go and binge these 10 episodes, because season 2 is coming, like I said, on May 8th. You've got plenty of time to get caught up. But what's fun about this show is the unique concept, the roster of guest stars, the case of the week style, while still telling an overarching story. And the fact that it's led by Natasha Lyonne, who is just so beloved and so good at what she does. I love her personality, her voice, her style, everything about her. She is able to carry this show, and alongside some of the biggest names in Hollywood. And if you enjoy Natasha Lyonne and some of her other series, like Orange is the New Black, which for me is probably the top prison show of all time. It takes place in a women's prison and also has a wonderful cast who now she's leveraging some of here in Poker Face. And then Russian Doll. So that show on Netflix actually has 2 seasons. I will say I loved season 1. Season 2 was a little bit weird, but it all showcases Natasha Lyonne as such a talented and dynamic actor who does work on these really interesting projects, and she brings so much depth to whatever character she plays, especially Charlie Cale here in Poker Face. I mean, can you imagine being a human lie detector and actually knowing when people are lying to you? I don't think I would let people know, because, you know, I'd rather know if they're lying to me. And let them keep going and burying themselves before I reveal, you know what, I know you're a big liar. And oftentimes we talk about, like, if you could have one superpower, what would it be? Invisibility, flying, that would be really cool. But what about being a human lie detector? I mean, that could maybe come in more handy in everyday life as a practical superpower. What do you think? Would you choose this as an ability, or would you go with something more like flying or invisibility? I've always thought flying would be really cool, but I kind of like the idea of invisibility as well, because that plays into the fact that you can spy on people and what they're saying to get their authentic truths without having to have that ability of being a human lie detector. And there are people in life that can beat lie detector tests. We see them, you know, with the old thumbtack on the toe, and you press it into your toe when you're gonna lie. I mean, there's definitely people who are able to fool them. And you know what? Lie detectors typically are not admissible in a court of law to determine guilt or innocence. So they can never really call her on the stand to testify, oh, definitively, you know, this person is lying or not. But in creating evidence, in investigating these cases, it's definitely helpful for the authorities. So, May 8th on Peacock, the first 3 episodes. I will be here to review them, and I cannot wait. I love it when a show that I really genuinely connected with right off the bat gets renewed and finally comes back. The anticipation of it all, and knowing we get an extra 2 episodes this season, thank you, Natasha Lyonne and Ryan Johnson, not only for creating this show, but for giving us more Poker Face in season 2. And also just let me know in general, what did you think of season 1? Did you have a favorite episode or a favorite guest star? I'm excited to track the guest stars for season 2 and award a big winner at the end of the season for my favorite. And clearly Judith Light did emerge as the winner for season 1, given the Emmys recognized her. So who's gonna take the crown in season 2? Again, be sure that you like this video, subscribe to my channel. Can't wait to bring you guys weekly coverage of Poker Face. And like always, if there's other shows you'd like to hear me talk about, drop them in the comments. Just want to say I'm grateful for everybody who watches and stops by. Really appreciate you. And I will be back again very soon with more TV talk. Media Melanie, clicking off.